Find your why. You don't have to have grandchildren or children. It may be a pet. It may be that you want to feel good again. You want to feel healthy. You want to be able to walk around without your bones aching, and carrying all that extra weight made me feel like crap. I had inflammation all the time. I went to bed and my joints were screaming at me every night. That's a good reason to lose weight. Whatever your reason is, think about it. Don't make it because, well, I just want to fit into a size 10 again. That would be nice and it's a great benefit, but find something more meaningful. If you have an anchor, if you have this purpose, this why you want to lose weight that's deep and resonating, you're going to be willing to kick through those times and push yourself to hang on to that reason for dear life. That propelled me into success, and it helped me hang on in the beginning when I had such a hard time adapting myself to a new eating plan, adapting myself to new thinking, and trying to change myself from the inside out so that the weight could drop and stay off. Hi there, I'm Easter, and 26 months ago, I was 350 pounds. It took me 23 months to lose the weight, which was 200 pounds altogether. And it was a very enlightening and in the beginning difficult, but later amazingly joyful experience as I watched myself drop 10 pounds every month. I watched myself get smaller. I kept changing sizes all the time, and I'd given away all my skinny clothes, which meant that I have to somehow find a new wardrobe again, but that's okay, it will come. One of the things that I focused on was, what was I going to do today that I could manage and feel good about, because I realized that if I set these little goals, these mini goals, and I reached them, it put me in just a little bit of a better mindset. And I set my weekly goals. Okay, this week I'm going to make sure I stick to my food. I'm going to make sure I drink 2 liters of water a day. I'm going to make sure that I do my best to stick to it. Allow yourself to set reasonable, attainable goals that you can improve upon as time goes on. You set your 5-pound goal for the first month. You set your 5-pound goal for the second month. I didn't even set weight goals, to be honest with you. I just focused on making sure I was eating what I said I was going to eat as often as I said I was going to eat, and not having the things I wasn't going to eat. And that was it. I didn't obsess about the food. I didn't overthink it. I made it simple so that it was easy to follow. I made it simple so that I could do it. My goals became: eat healthy today, drink 2 liters of water a day. Later on, when I became mobile, push yourself to go a little bit further on your walk today. Set those goals that you can reach, and you know what? You're going to be feeling so much more positive about yourself. So focus on the positive. Focus on being kind to yourself. And this way you get yourself out of that negative, beat yourself up, don't like yourself, just want to hide in the shadows feelings to, oh my gosh, I did something, and a spark comes back to your eyes and you start to shine again. Number 4, I know you're really weight focused right now, and I felt very weight focused because I was 350 pounds and I didn't want to be 350 pounds. But if you can shift your thinking from being, I have 200 pounds to lose, or 50 pounds, or whatever your weight loss goal is, to, I just want to be well again. I want to feel good. I want to feel energetic. I want to be happy and healthy. Focus on wellness instead of weight loss, and your attitude will shift. You're going to be working on feeling better instead of just losing weight again. You see the difference? The next one was big for me. Number 5 is journaling. Journaling helps so much when you're an emotional eater, a binge eater, a comfort eater, and I don't know why I ate that right now. I didn't want to eater. If you are a stress eater or a habitual eater or an I'm really bored so let's eat eater, which I was all of the above. Trust me, you don't get to 350 pounds in a couple of years by eating just because it's the normal thing to do and you have a little bit extra. No, I was totally doing it. With every mood shift I had, I ate. I was really happy and celebrating, I ate. I was angry with someone, oh, so I'm going to eat. Didn't make sense really, but it's what I did. So if you are an emotional comfort or any of the above eater, you need to focus on getting well instead of focusing on your weight. You need to, before you can effectively and permanently get to your weight goal, just imagine never feeling like you need to comfort eat again. Just imagine that you have these intense emotions and you don't feel like, oh my God, I got to eat something. Can you imagine not living with that? Because that's how I live now, and I used to be on the other end of it. And the liberation I have because I deal with my emotions, because I focus on my wellness inside as well as my physical wellness. And the weight comes along with that. The weight drops when you take care of yourself emotionally. So journaling is powerful because you get to release your emotions into something and you're putting it on paper. And for me, it was not just putting it on paper, but it was gaining perspective. When I wrote it down and I'd be all hyped up about something, sometimes I wouldn't even bother writing sentences and paragraphs, but I just machine gun it out like a bullet list. I'd look at it and say, oh my goodness, that is so ridiculously out of perspective. You need to rethink this. Every single time I went into spin cycle, I taught myself to journal. Every single time I was feeling emotionally havocked and like I needed to turn to food, I learned to pray and journal. Powerful, powerful. If you don't do it, I highly suggest you start it. Bullet pointed if you don't like to write. It gets it from here and here out of you in a positive way instead of taking that food and stuffing it down further with every bite you take. Practice mindfulness when you eat. Be aware of what you're eating as you're eating. Teach yourself to slow down. Teach yourself to enjoy the taste, to enjoy not just gobble, 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 chew, 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 but chew, savor, enjoy it, swallow. Take the next bite. Take your time eating. This mindfulness will not only help you to enjoy the food more, but it also is going to make you keenly aware of how much you're eating because you're mindful of it. And when you have had a normal sized portion, because we know that portions shouldn't look like this, we know that portions should look like this. So when you have a normal sized portion and you finish it, you're like, oh, wow, I did that. And taking your time also helps your stomach fill a little bit quicker. So be mindful, be slow, be purposeful. Learn to enjoy the taste of your food. Learn to savor the tastes that are going through you. And I never say don't enjoy your food. I love my food. I don't eat the same food I ate 2.5 years ago, but I love my food. I love the taste and savor and flavor and smell of my food. I love adding ingredients and experimenting, but I just use things that are safe for me to eat now in quantities that are reasonable. Wherever you are on your fitness journey, whether you are someone really active or whether you're someone that is like I was, unable to walk across the room without losing my breath. And I mean that quite literally. If I walked 10 to 15 feet, I was panting. It was so embarrassing. I hid away from other people because of that. It was embarrassing. So if you're there, or if you're someone that works out on a regular basis, I want you to incorporate daily movement 6 days a week. I know some people want to push it to 7, but don't. Give your body a day to rest and recuperate. Start with 5 little minutes. Start, if you're more advanced with whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But if you're just starting, 5 minutes of chair exercises, 5 minutes of chair dancing. We could just bop into the music and starting to get your blood going and your circulation going and starting to work your metabolism a little bit. Start with 5 minutes a day and commit to it. I found myself enjoying it so much that pretty much soon after I started exercising, I just wanted to increase it because it made me feel good. I realized I was doing something really positive for myself, and I was moving for the first time in years. And I was so proud of myself that I just kept the momentum going. I kept going and going and going. And I was so proud of myself that it made me want to do more. Please be patient with yourself. You did not gain your weight overnight. You probably didn't gain it over the last few months or even over the last 6 months. So please know that it's going to take time, and it's about progress along the way. It's about setting those goals, reaching those goals, giving yourself time. You need time to lose the weight that took you a lot of time to put on. You need time to recover from the things that are driving you towards the food in the first place, to be able to deal with those things and recognize that, hey, I feel really off right now. That's why I feel like eating. Or, wow, work was just so stressful today. That is why I feel so compelled to eat right now. Instead, I'm going to journal. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to call somebody in my support network. You have so many things you can do. Prayer, and meditation and deep thinking are powerful as well. You have many tools in the toolbox to utilize instead of turning to food. So give yourself time to learn how to use these tools. Give yourself time to slowly drop the weight at a healthy level, and be kind to yourself. Be patient, be tolerant, be gracious. I learned that really took me by surprise and just came naturally, was to learn the power of having a routine. Routine started with me by just getting up and saying, I don't want to look at my bed unmade all day, because I used to leave it unmade all day when I was at the worst of myself. And that wasn't me previously. So I started to make my bed every morning, no matter what was going on in my life, no matter how rushed I was. I took the time, I pulled the covers back, made the pillows all pretty and fluffy again, and it made a difference in my day. When I saw myself making my bed every day, I said, okay, well, why don't you make a little bit of a plan for your day today? Set a couple of goals that you can reach. I added structure in slowly, and right now I'm managing a YouTube channel. I'm taking an intense boot camp course in IT that is insanely challenging and takes a lot of time. And I watch my twin granddaughters, who are 2 years old, for several hours a day as my daughter and her husband work. So I am stretched to the limit. There was a time in my life when I would have been so stressed just at the thought of everything I had to do. But I have structure. My calendar goes from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. Putting structure in my day, knowing what to expect and when to expect it, and what I'm going to be doing instead of floundering, has made a huge impact in my life. I am productive all the time. And sometimes I'm purposely not productive because I recognize, hey, you've been going 18 hours a day for the last 3 days. Maybe you need to take an hour or two to just sit back and chill. It might look like watching TV, which I never do. And it might look like studying a language. If you're working your work scheduled, a little bit of a workout scheduled, your meals scheduled, and your you time scheduled, it will make a really big difference in your life. That's really important, because when you have a day that's not structured and you're having a bad day, what do? You sit there and you think about how terrible you feel the entire day long. But if you have structure in place, if you have a routine in place, you may feel bad about yourself for a little while, but then 10 a.m. comes and you say, oh my gosh, it's time for me to exercise now. And you get up and you do it anyways. That is a really impactful thing to have, because structure will keep you going even when you don't feel like going, because now it's a habit. And forming good habits is not only healthy to your mind and your spirit, but it will help push you forward in your weight loss journey, because you've got purpose, because you've got things to do, and because you've got an agenda to work towards completing those goals that you set. You are going to want to meet them day after day, because it just feels so darn good to meet. We talked about journaling already, but there's a lot of other mindful activities you can do as well. Think about, first of all, prayer, meditation, or deep thinking, where you allow yourself to think about the feelings that you're having and process them. And to me, I hand over my feelings to what I believe God is. So whatever God looks like to you, or if you don't believe in God at all, maybe you have that still small voice inside you that you can connect with and say, you know what, I don't want to do these feelings that I've hung on to for 20 years. I'm going to release these feelings to you and trust that there's a better, healthier way to deal with it. So my ways of dealing with it were prayer, meditation, deep thinking, journaling, and then mindful activities such as coloring, needlepoint, crocheting. I crocheted enough for 20 people for a while because it helped keep me distracted. And if you think about these things, you have to think as you're doing these things, and you're keeping your hands busy. What do we do when we're overeating compulsively? We are thinking about food and how much better it's going to make us feel, and our hands are constantly going to our mouth. So by doing mindful activities that I'm talking about, it could be Zen doodling, which is a fantastic form of meditation. It could be doing any type of a craft. It could be doing some type of pottery or whittling or making things, like whatever your thing is, and whatever it is that can keep your mind and hands busy, do it. Another fantastic form of mindfulness that works like a charm for me, work on learning another language. Languages have a way of consuming your brain, because at first you don't get it, and you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, how do you say I love you? Je t'aime, je t'aime, je t'aime. And you pull it out from the back of your mind. I wasn't born with a second language. It's just something I recognize that feeds my brain and makes me have happy thoughts. Words ring through my head, and it's a really way of distracting yourself from thinking about food. Learn something like Spanish or French. They're super easy to learn. Italian is super easy to learn. So think about learning a language. That is one of my secret weapons. I know this is going to sound weird, because I know you want to get away from eating so much, but don't demonize food. Food is not a terrible thing. It is not inherently bad. It is not a horrible thing to have. It's how you eat that's the problem. It's why you eat how you eat that's the problem. The way you eat is the symptom of why you eat the way you do. So work on the why, and don't think that food is bad, because it's not. So be kind. Don't think food is bad. Food is nutritious. Food is a blessing to your body. Food fuels your energy. Food makes you healthy. It blesses you in so many ways. What you have to do is learn to not abuse food, and to not use it as a toxic thing instead of a blessing to yourself. On your weight loss journey, learn to prioritize protein and fiber over all other foods. Protein is critical on so many levels, but protein to me is my energy booster. So I even have a protein shake pretty much every day that is low calorie but very high in protein boost. Don't forget to hydrate. 2 liters of water. This bad boy is what I drink every day. And by the end of the day, it better be all the way down, or I'm sitting and drinking it at 11 p.m. and waking up at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. to use the washroom because I drink late in the day, but you have to drink 2 liters of water a day. This is mandatory. Water has so many benefits to it that I can't even begin to tell you. One of the things you ask me a lot about is my skin, and I do have good skin. I have wrinkles. My webcam's not the best, so I look a little bit softer on the camera than I do in person. But honestly, I think for 59 years old, my skin is pretty darn good. And I believe it has a lot to do with how much I hydrate. I do take care of my skin. Don't get me wrong, 2 liters of water a day. My body is very well hydrated every day. Mindless eating. This was a tricky one for me because these were the times when I found myself just sitting down with food that I didn't plan on having, or wandering to the kitchen and opening the fridge and thinking, I wasn't hungry. I didn't need to eat, but I was standing in the kitchen opening the cupboards or opening the fridge and standing and staring and wondering what I was going to eat when I wasn't even hungry. That is mindless eating. If you find yourself sitting there and eating a bowl of popcorn that you had absolutely no plan to eat, and you think, wait a minute, I wasn't planning on eating this. What am I doing? That's mindless eating. Be aware of this and catch yourself as you are wandering to the kitchen or wandering to wherever you keep your food. And I know you have your secret places because I did too. Get rid of that food that's in those secrets. Will pull you down, and it's not a secret. Trust me. Focus on being consistent and having progress rather than perfection. I slipped up one day and I was really hard on myself about it for a minute. Overnight, I was hard on myself about it. But in the morning, I woke up and I said, hey, you know what? You've had 11 months of doing so well. You've dropped, I think I had dropped over 100 pounds by that time. And why would you let yourself lose your progress over one mistake? I felt so ashamed of that mistake, but then I realized that shame was not going to do anything except drag me down. So I quickly forgave myself. I quickly said, it's okay, get back on the highway, move forward, press forward. And that was it. I left it in the past where it belonged, and I never looked back after that. I realized that it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody slips up. Don't be slipping up every day. Don't be slipping up every week. I did it once in 23 months, and I quickly realized, there was a valuable lesson that you can't just have a little taste of something that is something you can't eat without wanting tons of it. And number 2, forgive yourself. Move on. Don't focus on it. Don't dwell on it. Just get back on the horse and ride forward. Press forward. Push forward. Don't look back. The next one is a little controversial, but I'm going to say it anyhow. Think about incorporating prayer, meditation, and or deep thinking into your routine. Having faith in something, even if it's that voice inside you that nudges you forward, that sometimes tells you what the right thing to do is, or believing in whatever your form of God or gods or universe or energy or light or love, whatever you believe in, prayer is invaluable. Meditation, where you sit and you ponder, that is invaluable. Giving myself that connection was really powerful because I had somewhere to turn to when I was dealing with those emotions I had stuffed down for so many years. I actually could say, oh, I need help with this. I've really made this a toxic thing in my life, and I haven't forgiven myself for the last 30 years because of this mistake. I need to let go of it, and I want to give it to you. And if you can have that mindset, it will change your life. If you have prayer or meditation or deep ruminating and thinking about things on purpose, you now have a connection with something that is more than just yourself. And that connection offers guidance. And even if you don't believe in any form of God at all, that voice inside you, I know you have it because we all do, is nudging you sometimes. I'm going to talk to you about building a support network. A support network is invaluable. valuable. Outside of my family, I joined an online group and I talked to people who had been through what I was going through, and I learned that they could do it, so could I. And just like I sit here and I say, I did it, and so can you. You need some type of support in place for the bad days, for the times when the cravings hit you like a brick wall. Now, cravings usually only last 5 minutes, so be kind with yourself and get through it. But sometimes you just feel so frantic about it and you need to talk to someone. It's invaluable. So I'm going to leave you with those tips. I hope they help you. Those are my top 17. I actually have a longer list, so I may do part 2 of this as well. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment on what tools you think will work for you. Hit that subscribe button and come back for more, because I've just got so much more to tell you, share with you, teach you, and inspire you with. See you soon.